I feel like women should be cautious about what they tell men because that can change the dynamic of a relationship as well. Cause he might think like, oh, ask her to come on in. Like,
Right.
this ain't that.
Ooh. All right, let's get into it. Today's episode is going to be about the triangle. Can you tell them what the triangle is, best friend?
The triangle is you, your man, and yourself.
Thank you. Let's get into it.
I was kind of like, nervous once you got married that, our friendship would kind of like take a seat or like we probably wouldn't be as close as we were because, we was able to hang and bang, So I was always just like afraid that, of losing you or us not having the same bond as we always had. It was like, a relationship is a relationship,
Right.
because we still navigated and we always knew that these dudes ain't coming in between
Yeah,
us. Like,
right.
but it's like once you're married, like that's your life partner now. And
Yeah.
I have to take a back seat to that.
Right.
I never, got jealous about it or felt the way, but I just always felt like, you know what? Maybe I'm not gonna be, that number one spot anymore or
Right.
something like that, or, have that space.
Right.
And it was just always like a little concern in my heart. But, how did you navigate through that?
You know what, best friend? The best way to explain the way I balance my relationship and my marriage is I don't want to make this sound like weird or anything, but I don't intertwine the two. So, what me and you have stays between me and you, what me and him has stays between us. So I don't cross the lines in the relationships. And then I still make time for both of the relationships. Like, just like me and my husband go out on like date days and stuff.
Right.
Me and you, we go on like little get outs.
Right.
We'll go like powwow, have lunch. We still
Right.
talk on the phone. So I think it just boils down to making time for the things that you love or the people that you love. And I know sometimes it sounds more, sometimes it can be more complicated than it is. But if you really love and value the friendship, you'll sit down and you'll make it work. And so I don't bring you up and like what we talk about is what we talk about. I don't talk about that stuff with my husband because I don't want to have him paint you in a different light based off the things that we've discussed. What we discuss is between us.
That's a pet peeve of mine.
Yes.
Like, I don't like that. I feel like I like to keep my friendships private, no matter
Yes.
who I'm on the phone with.
Yes.
If I know that we're going to probably discuss something,
Right.
in any shape or form about other guys or
Right.
anything, I don't want to be in the same room as my boyfriend, or I don't want him probably even be home because I talk in a different way
Right.
when he's around and when he's not around.
Because we can be more candid and open in our friendship, and sometimes people don't understand that dynamic, or
Right.
they may not get it.
Right. And I
Yeah.
do know that some men might think, oh, or look at it like,
Yeah.
oh, she agreeing with this. And
Yeah.
like, they're not understanding to how we talk to each other
Yeah.
or how we interact with the things that we talk about. So I do agree with you saying that, don't mix the two because
Right.
like I said, I'm the same way. And I feel like anytime you are having a private moment with your friend or need to discuss something, I feel like you should be alone or step away. It's not that you trying to be sneaky or anything. It's just about just having that self-respect for that respect for
Yes.
your friend. Like just
Yes.
respecting their boundaries and respecting, like what y'all have because
Right.
like you said, your boyfriend or your husband can take something the wrong way. And we
Right.
just
And he don't know the dynamics of our friendship. So we
right.
could be talking about something and we
Joke it
we
off.
can joke about it, and
Yeah.
he's think we being serious about it, and it's never that serious to
Right.
us.
It's just like we're kicking it.
Yeah.
We talking about it. We're laughing about it.
Right.
So I agree. I have been, in situations where, people try to mix the two. And I don't think that, that don't end well. It
Right.
never ends well because either if that person talking about, they might have a whole night or something like
Yeah,
that. And
yeah,
they just
yeah.
like, talking and talking and, you interacting and you like, oh, yes, girl. Cause
And that's none of my husband's business.
business,
What my
right.
friends are doing in their personal time I don't feel like that's something that he needs to be privy to because, it's just none of his business.
I feel like discussing, your partner's business with your friend, like I feel like that's a big no. Like you don't tell your partner what your friend is doing and stuff like that because that can paint them in a different light. And they don't know, the
Yeah.
dynamic of it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you can do what you want to do. And
Right.
if you're single, you can do what you want to do.
Right.
And there's no judgment. But men can tend to have judgment.
And then you know what too? Also, once they hear those things, I think it can become a burden because now they could stop potentially not want you to hang with that
Yes, and it
friend.
could be an insecurity.
Yeah.
It could be an insecurity and they looking at you like, oh, well, why you hang with this type of girl? This is the type of
Yeah.
friends you would want to be
Yeah.
around. And not knowing every woman talks in a certain way.
Right.
It's just, you're just not around to hear it,
Yes.
So it's like, I really truthfully think that women should separate the two,
Right.
and be able to have a relationship with your best friend and not just say, oh, I just only want to be with my man. That's fine and dandy,
Right.
but you still should have a safe space for your one friend or your
Right.
two friends to come to you and express themselves openly without judgment.
Right. Definitely. I agree. I think oftentimes people cross those boundaries unknowingly. Like, let's say, for instance, we're in the house or you in the house and you talking to me on the phone and your significant other comes in. We have that friendship where we know, like, once your significant other come in, change the subject. Once I hear him hit the door, baby, subject change. We cold turkey.
Right.
And I feel like other women might not know how to navigate that space. Their significant other may come in and they may just, keep going, keep talking, and not notice that, okay, your spouse is here now or your significant other is here now.
And it's not even cold turkey. We'll just change the subject and just like start talking about something else.
Yeah.
And that's what you're supposed to do because it's like, he don't need to hear what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's not my best friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He don't
my
understand.
man.
Yeah, that's my man. He don't understand how we talk.
Yeah.
He don't understand how we move or something like that. And it's just not for them. And I feel like a lot of times women place their men in the relationship unknowingly.
Yeah.
Because
in the friendship, they place their man in the friendship unknowingly.
Right. Exactly.
And now your man knowing all my business.
Exactly.
You coming home now, he asking you more questions about me. Well, what happened with Kay?
Right. And that would be and ready for the tea. And it's like, I don't want that. I don't want my man to be a catty girl.
I don't want no gossipy man.
Yeah, I would hate a catty guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just not your place, because women, that's naturally a woman thing. So it's like, I wouldn't like that. I would look at my man definitely sideways because it's like, mind your business.
You and my friend business?
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
We don't like that.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's all about the respect and the boundaries that you set in place ahead of time. And I do think that some women may not know that that's a boundary. So it's something that probably needs to be discussed early on in the friendship so that it's known that that's not something I like.
I kind of feel like the biggest thing, I feel like women need to read the room. They really need to read the room because even just knowing that and just knowing like, okay, I don't want to go everywhere with my best friend and her man.
Yeah.
That's a big thing for me too. I done been in situations where people just want to show up and you're with your man. Like, this ain't that.
Yeah.
We ain't in no 3-way relationship, you know? Even though you're my friend,
right.
It's just
a time and a place.
It's a time and a place for everything because if we're out to eat somewhere, you're going to expect for my man to pay for your food. And there's nothing wrong with that sometimes, but it's like,
oh, let's jump into that. So how do you feel about that? Okay, what do you think about that? Because I know girls have a million opinions on this, but what do you think is the protocol for you and your man out to eat and your friend happens to tag along, friend pops up or tags along? Is your man obligated to pay the tab for your friend?
I feel like he's obligated to pay the tab because it's women in the space.
Okay.
And so I do agree with him paying the tab, but you're not going to be pulling up every time, wanting a free meal and all of that. Or, just making it a habit. I feel like it's one thing, every now and again, or even sometimes or once a week, something like that.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I've seen some women just take advantage and make it like just because they're single that they just want to tag along, tag along, tag along, and my man's just paying the bill, paying the bill, paying the bill. That is not what we're doing here, because I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't do it to another person. And it's just about boundaries. It's about knowing the boundaries to cross and not to cross, and to know like I don't want to do that to nobody else. And that's
Yeah.
what I said about reading the room. Just knowing that I'm not gonna do that.
Right.
Like
Okay.
I
So
don't like
if
it.
you out with your friend and her man, do you at least offer to pay your portion of the tab?
I'm already got my purse out.
Yeah,
I
because
already
I
got my
think that's
card
an etiquette
out.
thing. I mean,
Yes,
even though you know they're not probably gonna take your money, at least offer. Oh, you
yes.
know,
Lead a tip. I'm a
I
lead a
can leave a
tip.
tip, or you
Right.
know,
I'm definitely I'm not a user, so
Yeah.
I'm already ready to pay everybody tab. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's just like
Yeah.
I don't ever want to feel like I'm using anybody. So it's just in me to
Right.
just, offer or put my money on the table, or, put that out there like here,
Yeah.
know? And it's just like I don't feel like a lot of women is, because they're looking for, the same treatment you're getting or something
Yeah.
like that. Makes me feel that way or
Yeah.
something like that.
Right.
And
Like
it's just
you
like
expecting my man to
right.
do for you what he does.
What he
for
does
me.
for me. And that's where the misunderstanding coming in at,
Yeah.
because it's like now do I have to give you a side eye
Now
or
I got to
something?
put you in your place.
Yeah, now I got to be looking at you like, like, is you trying? Like what are you
Right.
like?
What are your
you-
intentions?
Right,
Yeah.
because most people wouldn't even think of that. They
Yeah.
wouldn't even think to like I'm always gonna pull up, or you calling me and I say, oh yeah, me and such and such, we're here, getting a bite, and they just pull up every time. No,
Yeah. I think that right there, it would be a red flag to me. If I tell you I'm somewhere and I don't personally invite you or
Yes.
give you an invitation, you shouldn't be pulling up on me nowhere.
But that's what I said. Some women just don't have boundaries. And that's why another reason why friendships don't last, because they're just taking it upon themselves to just do things. And it's not that you can do that. You know what I mean? No matter how close we are, it's just like, have some respect for me to ask me,
Yeah.
hey, can I come? I'm bored, or I'm not doing anything. Do y'all have room for me to come, or
Right.
something like that? Or like, don't just invite yourself. Like
Right.
very much so, just take a step back and say like, hey,
Right.
can I come?
Right.
And it's just like some people really just have to know that you can't do that in people relationships, because not only I might feel away, my boyfriend might feel away.
He may get tired of the tag
Exactly.
along.
And he won't probably say nothing.
Right.
He'll just probably keep it going just
Yeah.
because I won't mention nothing. And it's just like, we shouldn't have to tell you, stay
Right.
home.
Yeah. Have you ever been in an incident where you shared something with a friend and the friend shared it with their spouse or significant other?
I feel like I have done something probably with a friend,
Right.
and they told their significant other, and I felt like
That
it
was
wasn't his
crossing
business.
the
Yeah, that was
line.
crossing the line, because it wasn't his business.
Right.
Because that creates, if we're still friends,
Right.
that creates a space for them to have some sort of insecurity, some sort of like, oh, I gotta watch y'all around each other. In which,
Yes.
I'm a person like, if that happened, it's like I'm probably not going back down that road
Right.
again. You know what I mean? Or
Right.
something in that nature or whatever. I'm
Right.
just not gonna, it happened,
Right.
but we're friends now.
Right.
So I just feel like I'm never looking at you like, oh, I want to like get in bed with you or
Right.
something like that. It was something that, was way before we even became friends or something. And we just
Right.
ended up being friends along the way.
Right.
And so when I feel like women should be cautious about what they tell men, because that can change the dynamic of a relationship as well. Because he might think like, oh, ask her to come on in.
Right.
Like, this ain't that.
Ooh.
This is not
This
that. Like,
is not
I don't even,
that.
I'm not even going down that road. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even like the same men she like, or
Yeah.
something in that way.
Yeah.
But it's like, I definitely feel like women should be cautious about what they tell their man. It's not hiding anything. It's not
Right.
holding secrets.
Especially about their friends.
Right. It should just be, that's what happened between us, and bury it. That's what I was saying. Like,
So did it affect the relationship, the friendship that y'all had after she
I feel
shared
like
that?
it did.
Yeah.
Because
in a good way or a bad way?
In a bad way, because it was a level of insecurity, and because how she dealt with me, she was so close with me
Right.
that they felt like, oh, is it because y'all messed around before that you're so close with her? And it wasn't that. It still was that I'm just a good person, and people just treat me in a certain way, and men get intimidated. Some men
Right.
get intimidated by 'em. It's like mostly like the weaker men that, they'll just be like, oh, they insecure. They just, you know, because if you're secure in your spot and you're secure with your woman and change happens, growth happens, because you got to think
And
that
then we
was,
were young at
you
one
was,
point in time. You
yeah, it was
everybody's been young, so people have experimented and
right.
tried things, and so this was something that was in the past
And never
that might have
happening
come up,
again.
and it never happened again.
Because I wouldn't even like me and women like no. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just
Yeah,
like that those things are just past things. And I feel like they should be buried. When I buried them,
right.
you should have buried them,
Yeah, and
and
you shouldn't have brought that
he
up to
shouldn't
him.
exactly, because it's not his business,
Right.
even though it's a part of your past as well, it's still not a
It's
discussion.
another party involved,
Right.
and, you be free to tell him whatever business you wanna
Right.
tell
On
him
your
about
own.
yourself, but if it involves me, you need
Or
to
anybody
proceed.
else, I
Yeah,
feel like you should be cautious.
yeah.
Like, you should know that, like, oh, I'm not gonna say this because I'm not the only party involved.
Yes, I agree. It's a respect thing,
Yes,
though.
very much so. It's a respect
Yeah.
thing. I agree. So, best friend,
Yes,
what's
well,
the rule on how much you talk to your friends or tell your best friend about your relationship, or what y'all may be going through? How much is enough to be told, or how much is too much?
if I'm in a relationship, I probably won't share, you know, a lot of details, but some stuff I will talk about with my friends if I'm in a relationship. Being that I'm married, it's a difference. It's my husband. We are locked in. We got paperwork to prove it. It's deeper. When you're married, I feel like it's different because I'm locked in with this person. We've made vows to each other, and we're in it for the long run. So I feel like in that case, I'm not really sharing a whole lot with my friends about my spouse, about my husband, because 9 times out of 10, we're going to work through that
Right.
together, if that makes sense.
Right.
Now, if it's like a boyfriend or somebody that I'm casually dating, I may share a little more because, it's no commitment there. Like, yeah, we may be, dating, but it's a little more, it's a little more loose of a
Right.
situation. So I may share things with my best friend in confidence that I definitely wouldn't share things about my marriage. I'm closed when it comes to my marriage. I feel like that's a hard line because we have to deal with each other
Right.
and we have to work those things out, and we can't put anybody in the middle of that, if that makes sense.
Wow, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I
What,
agree, but
yeah.
I feel like with me, I'm more so like I'm irritated. You gonna know I'm irritated. I can't hold it in. I
Yeah.
got to call and be like, oh, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z.
Right.
But it's not like I'm gonna tear my situation down
Right.
because I know that it's nothing that serious. Because if
Yes.
it was serious, nobody don't gotta tell me to get out the door.
Yeah.
I'm already outside
Yeah.
to like leaving. But if it's something like, small and it irritating me,
Right.
like if he asked me to cook and I don't feel like cooking, I'm finna call about it. I'm gonna talk about it. But it's like,
Yes, best friend, because when he get under your skin, you gonna lay
literally,
him.
I'm exactly.
But
And
you gonna be friends again.
exactly, like soon as because it's just like I was just probably irritated at that moment, and I
Yes.
just didn't feel like it. But it's not like tearing them down or
But I
something like
love the
that.
switch up though. I love how you can call and lay him in 1 minute, and then he comes to the door. You be like, "Hey, babe,
Hey,
you want
babe.
something to eat? You need anything?" And
Literally.
it's like, "Girl, bye. You just
I
laid him
ju-
2 minutes ago."
Listen, that's
But
the
I already know what it is.
that's why I said it's just like a little aggravation, and
Yeah.
I feel like it's just a venting. I'm just venting. You know what I mean? It's
Yes.
not like I'm like now if he cheated or something like that,
Right.
I think I'm gonna tell too because
Right.
like I don't know. It's
Oh, best friend.
like if it's some tea, I probably would tell it. I probably would tell it because it's like it's not that I need advice. It's just like I'm so angry that like
Yes.
I would have to like vent about it and like,
And
I'm gonna make
sometimes
my
you
own
need
choice.
perspective.
Right. I'm gonna make my own choice whether I stay or I leave. But it's like I'm not gonna try to down my person if they're not
Right.
a bad person.
Right.
And I'm not gonna make my man seem like he's doing so much for me and he's
Right.
not. Like I'm
Yeah.
never giving a man credit. Like
Right.
if he didn't do it, he didn't do it.
Yeah.
And if he did it, I'm gonna tell you, I'm happy he's doing this. And it's actually gonna show. So
Right.
that's another big thing. Like I'm not gonna amp my man up and
Right.
he ain't that.
But you said the most important thing, like when they doing it shows. You
Right.
don't have to tell your friends what your spouse or your significant other is doing for you because it shows in the way you walk, in the way you talk, in the way you present yourself. Like you can always tell a woman got a good man by the way she look or by the
Right.
way she keep herself up.
So that's what I said. So 9 out of 10 with me, I'm just venting. I'm just, I pride myself into like, all that cheating stuff. I'm really not gonna deal with. I don't see myself as saying, "Oh, I'm gonna leave my man if he
Right.
cheated on me," because it
Right.
had to be a reason. I want to talk about it. I want to
Right.
figure it out. Like, okay, if it's worth figuring out. But if you just did something and like you moving like you hate me,
Right.
I'm out. But if it was something that
But
actually
I think you
happened,
should talk to your spouse because guess what? At the end of the day, your spouse or your significant other is a friend.
right?
They're your friends. So it comes back down to friendship. So if you have a strong friendship with your spouse or your significant other, it should be things that you guys can discuss and move on from.
Right. And that's why I feel like, cheating really shouldn't be a thing because it should be already talked about. It should be already said, like, I don't like this. And if
It's
I
a
could fix
hard
it,
no for me.
right. And
Like,
and if I
yeah.
can fix it, I'm gonna fix it right away. You
Right.
tell me about it, I'm on it.
Right.
But if you just still decide to go out and do some things or whatever and not consider me, I really probably would be leaving you because it's like my person would think about it like, oh, I don't want to do that to my girl. Like
Yeah.
I love her too
Because
bad,
that's my at the end of the day, that's my friend. That's my
Right. I
like
can't see her hurt
yeah.
or I don't want to see her hurt. And that's the man that I want. That's the only man for me because he is considerate of my feelings, of my heart and just everything above. Like he ain't trying to put me in that situation. He's not trying to see me hurt like that.
Have you ever had to distance yourself from a friendship because the friend kept calling and venting to you about a man and you were listening to her and giving her advice and then she kind of like just stayed in the situation and then ended up really like kind of like cutting you off and y'all ended up falling apart or growing apart?
I'm gonna say yes. I don't feel like we fell apart, but I definitely distanced myself because I'm a person. I don't want to sit back and watch my friend or a family member get mistreated
Right.
because I definitely can share opinion. Like, and I'm very strong and adamant about how men treat women. Your man should treat you like a queen. I don't care. Like he's supposed to put you on a pedestal. Some men or some people feel like, oh, I'm just gonna get what I can get. And that's not always the case. Sometimes you have to shut down and just be to yourself for a while and let a man find you. It's not always about, I need a man, I need a man, I need a man, because when you need a man or you just keep saying you want a man,
You find the
you're
wrong
gonna find a
man.
wrong man and he's gonna come in and he's gonna mistreat you and he's gonna treat you like you're an object. And I find that like damning for me. Like I can't watch that. So I will push back and I will just, let you, do your own thing. And I'll watch from the sidelines, from the bleachers, and I'll be fine with that. But I just know that I'm such a passionate person
Right.
that I got stuff to say. Like I'm gonna be
Yeah.
like, I'm not judgmental, but
Right.
I'm gonna tell you, like, why are you tolerating this? Like, this is a nothing man. You can do better than that. And it's just like some women just feel like, oh, just because you probably found your person, don't rain on my parade, or
Right.
don't don't make me feel bad because it's not that you like that. It's just that you're settling for that and you feel like that's all the best you can get. And it's always better.
Always
It's
better.
always better. Like, and I mean that with my chest out. Like, because it's billions of people in the world. And it's like, yes, you got comfortable with this person. Yes, you like this person, but you don't have to get treated and like so mistreated that you lose yourself. Because 9 out of 10, every time you get mistreated, you're losing a piece of yourself, a piece of yourself, a piece of yourself. And that puzzle have to be rebuilt at some point.
Yes.
And it's hard to rebuild yourself. It's very hard to be able to look yourself in the mirror and know that you're being mistreated and still stay.
Yeah.
Like, because it's not worth it. And you know that in your heart that it's not worth it, because you're looking and say, this man don't even do this for me. He don't even do that for me. And sometimes they'll tell their friends like, oh girl, he do this and do that. And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
well, why you just ask me for some money?
You can always tell.
Why did you just need a favor? If this guy is handling business and doing what he needs to do, you wouldn't, you wouldn't
Yeah.
reach out for the favors. You would already have it.
Yeah.
So when women, that's the hardest part about it. When women put a sheet over a bad man,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
just make them seem like, oh, they're so good, but behind closed doors they're really shitty men.
Yeah.
So I look at it as, okay, if that's the kind of man you want to deal with, I'll
Let me
back
distance
away.
myself. Let
Yeah,
me
I'll
back
back
up.
away
Yeah.
because I'm gonna be more passionate than maybe you are.
Right.
And
And I
that's
don't want to see you go out like that. It's
right.
hurting me to see you go out like
Exactly.
that.
And some people don't understand that. And some people, just don't get it. And it's like, I just really want women to wake up and know that it's always better. It's always better, no matter how you may feel. Even if he was a good man at some point, you know what I mean? That change, it happened for a reason. That's really who he is.
Yeah.
He just, some men,
Good
they
at
disguise.
hiding things.
They hide
Yeah.
things and they disguise themselves to be a good person or a good man to you, and then they switch up. And I feel like the time they switch up is the time you just like, oh no, I'm either gonna move away from this person, or I'm gonna let him know, I don't like the way you're treating me. And if they don't change, that should be your cue to leave.
I think my pet peeve with women going back to men, or they've called me and discuss like every other week you calling and you complaining about the same things he's doing, the same man. I'm the type of friend where I want to help you. I want to fix the situation. So if you come to me with a problem, I'm going to be like a fixer. I'm going to try to help you fix it or work through it. But if I notice that every week you calling me, and we keep discussing the same thing, nothing is changing, and you're staying in the situation, it's gonna cause me to pull back, because at this point I'm like, okay, what's going on? I'm listening to you, I'm letting you vent, I'm giving you solutions to fix the problem, and every week we back at square one. We beating a dead horse. We talking about the same man doing the same thing week after week, and there's no change. Like, okay, what do we do after this? How do we move forward from this? Because
Right.
two things gonna happen. Either I'm about to pull back, or you about to readjust with him, because it's only so much I can sit here and listen
Right.
to.
Or just don't tell me.
Yeah,
You know
or
what I mean?
yep, thank you. Leave me out of
leave
it.
me out of it.
I'm
That's
okay
where
with
I'm
that
at
too.
with it.
I'm
It's just
cool.
like, leave me out of
Yeah.
it. If you want to deal with that, you deal with it on your own time.
Yeah.
But you're messing with my peace once you bring
Yes.
those things to my attention, because
Yes.
of course I love that. I love
I
you as a
love
friend.
you as a friend, and I'm gonna go to bat for you. So if you keep calling me with this, it's disturbing my spirit, it's disturbing my
Ooh.
peace, and I don't want to be bothered in that way. So it's gonna cause me to pull away from you.
Right. And I agree. That's the thing right there. And women don't understand that, because they'll be like, oh, you left me when I was going through something. You chose to go through that.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
because not everybody is as strong, but you have to put you first always,
Yes.
because men gonna put them first.
Oh,
They're gonna put them first.
one thing I love about a man, they gonna put they self first, and they gonna stand on business. When they're
The
done with
biggest
you,
business.
it's nothing you can say to them. It's nothing you can type them, write them, gift them that'll pull them back in. When they're done with you, they're done.
Definitely done.
Women, I feel like we give out 1,000,001 chances.
So much grace. We give so much grace for
give
growth
a
for
lot
them.
of grace.
Even if they don't grow, they just still give that space for them to grow potentially. And it's just like, do he really deserve that? You know what
Right.
I mean? I just want women
Would
to
he have
know.
given me the opportunity
Right.
that I've given him? Would
Exactly.
he have allowed me that kind of grace?
No, they not doing it. They not doing it. Let's be frank here. They're not gonna do it. Like you're not gonna get that same respect or the same obedience from a
Right.
man. So I feel like women should stand on business the same way men stand on their business.
Right.
And it's just like when you realize disrespect, is either you check it or you leave. And
Right.
that's where I be at with it. Sometimes you can depending on the level of disrespect, you can give chances, but know your worth at the end of the day. Look yourself in the mirror and say, do I do this? Is this what I want to go through for the rest of my life or for however long that we're dating or
Yeah.
whatever it is? And just to know, like, I deserve better. I am better.
All right, guys. I know most of y'all are probably in y'all late 20s, in your mid 30s, early 30s. We're growing up, we're evolving in life, we're starting to get married, we're having families. How is the balancing act for you guys? How much time do you give your significant others, your spouses versus your friends? How do you balance the two? How do you determine who gets, what time?
I feel like your man is your best friend as well. So I feel like, of course, you guys probably live together. You're
Right.
around each other all the time. So of course, he gets the most attention
Yes.
because, like, you should.
Right. That's your man.
That's your man.
Yeah.
But I feel like the balance come in as conversations, keeping up with your friends, and just checking in, like checking in and checking on them, and just seeing where they're at. Not it might not be every day you can talk to each one of your friends, but once a week or maybe every other week we're getting together and we're gonna act like we ain't never not talk.
Right.
So I feel like the balance come in, like I need to talk to somebody else. I don't want to
Right.
talk to my man all the time. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
I need another
I need
outlet.
I need another outlet. And it's in the same with family.
Yeah.
You can't always be around your family as well because you're in a relationship now. You're probably, married or you probably have kids or anything. So it's just like once a kid and once a marriage probably come into place, it's like time is limited.
Right.
And sometimes family don't understand that. Sometimes friends don't understand that. So
Right.
sometimes friendships wither away because of that.
Right.
And it's like, you can't even understand I just had a baby. And,
Right.
I may can't talk every day. I can't
Yes.
probably.
I'm busy now.
I'm-
I'm changing Pampers.
Right.
I'm doing formula.
Right.
Now.
Or
And
I'm
so,
breastfeeding or anything like
yes.
that. Just have some compassion and have some grace for your friend and just not write them off just because they don't have the same type of time that they used to have.
Yes.
It's really about balance and knowing your friend should be able to give you grace about the new situation. And just like, say for instance, I've been partying and we go out every night. Then all of a
Yes.
sudden I get a man and I'm never around. You should be able to understand that.
You got to pull back a
Right.
little bit.
I don't want to be single for the rest of my
Right.
life. Like, we was out hanging out to find
The
somebody.
goal was
Right.
to, settle down. Meet
Exactly.
somebody and
To
settle
mingle
down.
and
Yeah.
to start dating and to have somebody. So it shouldn't be, oh, we fell out or we fell off from each other. It should be, oh, my friend got a man now.
Yes.
She
I'm
and
so
I.
happy for
Yes,
my
I'm so happy
friend.
for her.
Yeah.
And it should be a win is a win. And
Yeah.
especially when you see them happy, you should know that, like,
Yes.
this is not a bad thing for me. This is a
Right.
good thing
It's a good
because
thing.
my friend is happy,
And then you know what? You can adjust because let's say, I'm married and then now you in a serious relationship. That doesn't mean that we can't spend time. We just adjust the way we spend time. Maybe now we can start to incorporate spending time with our spouses together.
Right.
That can bring on a new dynamic to the friendship where now
Right.
we can, all four of us can get together and hang out and have fun.
And right. Now we can adjust to, having healthy relationships because what they know or they growing into, we might need to be growing and learning from them. So I agree with relationships getting together, doing things together. It's not always you want to get with another couple and hang out with them.
Right.
But sometimes it is healthy. And to see that,
Yes.
okay, they're married or they're in a committed relationship. We want to be there someday.
Yes.
I like how they is. I like how they operate
And
together.
I always say this. I think that it's healthy for married couples and serious couples to hang out and do things together, because I think that helps everybody in the circle, because I think they get to see the
Growth.
dynamic and the setup between the couples, and I think that helps them and know that, they're not alone when it comes to certain things. Like, y'all might be arguing about something and then y'all hanging out and it's like, "Oh wow, like me and him be arguing about that all the time." So that's just normal, normal stuff. So
Right.
it's good to co-date, like, go include your friends in
Right.
your dates with your spouse or your significant other. I think that's a healthy thing.
And also, it's not just, if I get in a relationship or if you get in a relationship, like things change. It's just like I said, you should know that it's growth. And maybe, as a friend, that this now the single friend, it's just like, okay, maybe you should start taking things a little serious as well. You know what I mean? Or maybe you should take a different direction into what you may want in life or whatever, because I'm in a relationship now. You should just change and say, okay, maybe I need to change a little bit about me. Maybe I need to, instead of the club, let's go to brunches, and
Right, right.
and
Maybe
do
you change the dynamic of
dynamic,
what y'all was
right?
doing. Now,
Exactly.
instead of going to the club, we the brunch friends now.
Right. And
Now,
but
yeah.
we can still every now and again go to a club, but
Right.
we gotta be respectful of my relationship. And it's just
Yes.
like sometimes women aren't respectful of your relationship because they're so used to your old ways. And
Yes.
it's like you
And
can't
they
hold
don't
me
wanna
so
feel
much.
like they've lost their friend, and now you this new person, and it can be difficult to navigate. But I think as long as you open and you talk about it with your friend and y'all come to an understanding, I think communication, I keep saying this, I'm gonna keep drilling this to y'all. Communication in friendships is very important. It's
I
so
agree.
important,
I agree.
because if y'all can't communicate, if y'all can't get on the same page, it's gonna be hard to even understand, or even talk things out, move past certain things, because you know you got to have a strong communication.
And that's why I said it's just like, I need an all around friend. I don't just need a party friend. I need
Right.
you to be there for my growth. For when we could probably be childish, and when that childish moment,
Right.
grows, you should be able to still be with me
Right.
along my journey, along
Right.
my maturity, along
We
with
should grow together. We should be able
right.
to grow together.
Even if you're still single,
Yeah.
it shouldn't be
Yes.
oh,
Yeah.
she's in a relationship now, it's forget about me. It's not that.
Right.
It's just that I found someone, that I want to be with, and I want to change some of my old habits.
Right.
That's it.
All right, best friends, before we get ready to wrap it up and get out of here, we just want to give y'all two takeaways from today's episode about, just the triangle of you, your man, and your friend. What to do, what not to do. We just want to give y'all some tips or some guidelines on how to move. My tip is, number one, like I say, always communicate. Communication is key. If you can communicate with your friend what you need from her in terms of, balance when it comes to your relationship versus your spouse's relationship or your significant other's relationship, I think that's the best way to have a clear understanding and move forward what your friend is expecting of you in the friendship. So I would just say communicate. You can't go wrong if you communicate. If your friend knows what you're expecting, it's gonna always be a go. You're gonna always be good, because y'all gonna always have that underlying understanding in the back of y'all mind. What would you tell?
I would tell you guys to remain truthful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I mean truthful to yourself, your partner, and your friend. Like, because it's not easy, but it's you're capable of doing so.
Right.
And when you're saying true, that means setting boundaries,
Yeah.
understanding boundaries, and communicating as well. But when you're setting boundaries, you know that, okay, this is my man, this is my friend, and I have to be in tune with self as well.
All right, y'all. Same time, same friendship. See you next week. Bye,
Bye,
best
best
friends.
friends.